Ah, good job. Oh, sorry. Oh, God. There we are. Welcome back, everyone, to the Kazual Bartender. Woohoo! Now, I hope you guys got some useful knowledge and the chance to try and make a Tom Collins after watching last week's episode. Well, how'd it go? No, I'm really curious. Now, as we go through the season, I will especially be looking at the comments section to see how many of you tried to make the cocktail and how it came out. What? Oh, do you want me to actually get to the cocktails? Well, fine then, Pushy Patty, getting your panties in a twist. We'll get to the cocktails. Now, last week I mentioned one fundamental thing that assists in creating the perfect cocktail. Do you remember what that was? Balance. Yes. Now, you may be feeling a little intimidated by that and think, a lot goes into finding the perfect balance, or my palate just isn't refined enough to understand where the balance lies. Well, you know what? Relax. It's much like cooking a meal at home. You have certain rules to adhere to in order to have the meal come out perfectly, right? Well, the same applies for bartending and mixology. Now, follow the steps and follow the specs in the order that I give you, and you're on your way to making a perfect cocktail. Now, in today's episode, we'll be taking a look at the 8 steps of service. Now, whether you're throwing a big holiday party or just making a few drinks for some friends in a casual setting, you'll want to remember these 8 steps for whenever you're slinging these cocktails. Now, the reason why I picked 2 cocktails today was to demonstrate these 8 steps and how sometimes you'll actually have to skip steps depending on what the cocktail calls for. So, let's get right into it. The first step I like to call aromatics. Now, that is any cocktail that will be stirred to a chilled dilution. So that's old fashions, Manhattans, martinis, etc. The second step is the fresh produce. Fresh produce. This is the step where you add the egg whites, the heavy whipping cream, the fresh fruit and herbs to the small tin or the Boston glass. Now, the third step is citrus. Now, what we mean by citrus is that's the juices. Here you'll add your fresh squeezed citrus juices. So your lime, your lemon, blood orange, grapefruit, etc. Oh, and one big rule to add on here is that whenever you are mixing lemon juice and lime juice together, please remember to put in the lime juice before the lemon. Now, this is due to the higher level of acidity in the lemon juice. Next, to assist in the balance and also ease those harsh flavors of the alcohol, we have the fourth step. And the fourth step are the sweeteners. So that's your sugar cubes, your simple syrups, your honey syrups, your ginger syrups. Now, the fifth step is to muddle. Now, this step is only used when needed, depending on the cocktail. Now, when you muddle ingredients, be sure to gently massage the oils and essence from the herbs or fruit. Crushing or muddling too hard can cause bitterness. If you really go at it, you're going to find a lot of bitterness in the pith and in the stems of, say, a sprig of mint. Now, the sixth step calls for your spirits or your base spirits. The seventh step is called the whip. If you have the ungodly urge to sing Salento, Watch Me, or Devo's Whip It at this point, by all means, be my guest. But be prepared for the groans of disappointment from your partygoers. So, this whip step is used whenever you're adding ingredients like ginger syrup, egg whites, heavy cream, or jatte, etc. Basically, what you're doing with whipping is emulsifying and mixing all the ingredients together before that last step, which is to shake it. The eighth step is the shake step. Now, there are 3 basic types of shakes to use, and if you want to include the whip as one of those types of shakes, then we can say there are 4 styles of shakes. So over the next couple weeks, I will be diving deeper into the 4 types of shakes and types of ice being used. All right. Well, now that I've gone over those 8 steps, let's put them to some good use, shall we? Okay. So, as a hypothetical, let's just say that you're hosting a small gathering of friends and you want to show off your new passion for craft cocktails. One friend might come up and ask, I want a fancy free. And another comes up and says, I want a sidecar. Well, as the skilled casual bartender that you are quite keen to oblige. So, let's go to that first step, aromatics. Now, the Fancy Free is a cocktail that is a variation of the old-fashioned cocktail, and it's built in a doubled old-fashioned glass. So immediately, I know that it is an aromatic cocktail, and I need to make this one first. The reason why you want to make this one first is to allow time for the ice in the glass to help the spirits reach their ideal dilution and temperature, which ranges anywhere in between 18 degrees Fahrenheit to 23 degrees Fahrenheit. Now this is where timing and a little bit of science comes in. Let's just think about this. What is the final product in the dilution of ice? Water. Too much water and the drink will taste too weak. Too little water and the drink will taste too hot or alcoholic. All right, moving right along. Let's make the fancy free. Now this drink first appeared in Crosby Gage's cocktail guide in the 1940s. It's a variation of the old-fashioned in that it uses maraschino liqueur as the sweetener in place of the sugar cube. So we'll start with a double old-fashioned glass right here, and we'll take out our jigger and we're gonna add 2 ounces of bourbon. So the bourbon that we are using is our Elijah Craig bourbon. Excellent. Ooh, hey there. Cap just came right off. Got a cork, just stayed right inside. Elijah Craig, we need to work on this, okay? Let's get that quality check. Almost. Got it. All right, so we're gonna be adding 2 ounces of Elijah Craig bourbon right there. Now at this point, I would do cap in hand and label out. So whenever you're actually bartending and you're pouring a drink, make sure that when you're pouring the spirits to have a cap in hand and label out. Unfortunately, my cap, that just died. That cap died. So we have 2 ounces of our bourbon. It's gonna go straight into the double old fashioned. This is gonna be interesting trying to get that off again. And next up, 1/2 ounce of maraschino liqueur. Cap in hand, label facing out. The reason why we do this is so that it's presentable for anybody that you're making the drink for, so that they can see what's going into the cocktail. So be sure to hit your marks. It's very important to hit your marks. Now you can even see right here a little bit. I went over just a touch. Pour some out. Right on. There we go. 1/2 ounce of maraschino liqueur. Okay, next up we're gonna add our bitters. So like any other old-fashioned, you've got your spirits, you've got your sweet, and you've got your bitters. So we have 2 types of bitters that we're using. We're going to be using Angostura bitters and Regan's orange bitters. So we're going to do 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. 1, 2. And 1 dash of Regan's orange bitters. There we go. All right, next we're going to add our ice cube. Perfect clear cube. It's quite lovely. There we go. I didn't want to drop it in too much and let that cocktail fly everywhere. So, when you are stirring a cocktail, a couple things you want to look at. With your hand, when you're stirring a cocktail, I like to kind of do the whole Star Trek Spock thing. And I'll actually take my ring finger and my pinky finger and bend them forward just a little bit. I'm going to rest this in between both of those fingers, kind of like that. Now the key is I put pressure with my thumb up against the metal bar and push it against my index finger. Ideally, you want the spoon to do all the work. Stirring a cocktail really doesn't take that much out of it. Now the key here is you want the back of the spoon to touch the sides of the glass the whole time. Always going around the sides of the glass. If you have a circular double old-fashioned glass, this is going to sound a lot better and it's going to be a lot smoother of a stir. Unfortunately, I have a square double old-fashioned glass. That's why we're getting that clinky, 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 clink. All right, I've stirred that a little bit. It's about 5-10 seconds of a stir, but we're gonna let that sit and cook. Another thing I want to point out is that when you are stirring, you always want to use a bar spoon to stir. Now, what's the difference between these 2 spoons? The spoon right here, this is called a cracking spoon. Now the measurement of this is actual bar spoon. So if it calls for a bar spoon of something, you're going to be pouring the bar spoon into here and pouring it into the drink. You're not going to be using this bar spoon for that. So, stirring. The reason why we don't want to use this one to stir, you're going to notice it's got that twisted metal right here. That's one way that you can tell it's a cracking spoon. The cracking spoon also has a wider and thicker head on the spoon part of it, right? So this is good for cracking big chunks of ice so that you can break them up into the drink. The reason why you don't want to use this to stir with, if you start stirring with this, that the metal is so heavy it might actually crack the glass, and then you're drinking shards of glass. Nobody wants that. Lawsuit. So, ideally, you're always going to be using this bar spoon here. The other reason why you want to use this one is this right at the top. It's a little bit of a weight, so it actually gives you a nice balance as you're stirring, and it helps to let the spoon do the work itself. So, that is our fancy free. Make sure that this is properly diluted. It's nice. Oh, that is really nice. Now for the garnish here, what we're gonna do is an orange twist. Same thing as the lemon twist. Take from the top and just, oh, that one I wouldn't even give to my mother. All right, let's try it again. And hold the top just like that. There we go. A little bit went right in my eye. I can't see. Okay, so same with this. You just want to squeeze the top very gently to get some of those essential oils. Rub it around the rim. So on the inside and the outside. And you're gonna lay that right in just like so. You don't want to just throw it in there. Make it look nice. Well, there you have it. Now, if you forgot anything, don't worry, I'm still here. Just rewind the episode and pause it throughout. Learn these 8 steps as it will only help you build cocktails with me down the road. Now, I hope you learned a lot on this week's episode of Kazual Bartender, and be sure to tune in next week as I explain the types of shakes used. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our page. That's the button right down there. Click it, click it. Please subscribe to our page on YouTube. Tell your friends and family about us and this page. And as always, drink in moderation, be safe, and keep it casual. Have a great week, you guys. Blueberry bagel?